Emma had been driving for hours, and her exhaustion was catching up to her. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting a dusky hue across the landscape. She decided to pull into the first motel she saw, a rundown establishment just off the highway. The neon sign flickered, Motel XY, a beacon in the growing darkness. She checked in quickly, eager for a few hours of rest before continuing her journey. Her room was modest, with faded wallpaper and a creaky bed. She sank onto the mattress, intending to nap briefly, but soon sleep claimed her entirely. Emma awoke with a start. A strange, uneasy feeling gnawed at her, pulling her from the depths of sleep. She looked around, her heart racing. The room was silent, but something felt off. She got up and walked to the mirror on the wall, hoping a splash of water on her face would help. As she gazed at her tired reflection, she heard a faint, muffled voice. Her eyes widened with realization. The mirror was double-sided. Panic surged through her veins. She had to get out of there. She turned, grabbing her bag, and headed for the door. As she reached for the handle, she heard footsteps outside her room, and the voices Emma pressed her ear to the wall adjacent to her room. She could make out fragments of the conversation. Shipment, boy ransom, and keep him quiet. Her blood ran cold as she pieced together the situation. The men next door were trafficking something illegal, and they had a young boy captive, crying at times. Her first instinct was to pick her bag and leave the place as soon as possible. But if she left, what would happen to the boy? She noticed a small hole on the wall corner, no doubt for suspects to control her room activities. 3 men in hood, their faces partially covered. They had weapons and were talking to the boy. "Be nice. You will be back home soon if your parents follow exactly to our ransom instructions." Then, 2 of them got out to deliver a message to the kidnapped boy's parents. The remaining suspect staying with the boy told him, "I will leave for just some minutes. Try to be quiet." This is an unexpected opportunity. Emma pushed the fake mirror, camouflaging a real window between the 2 rooms. In front of her was a dark room with a boy around 12 years old, his feet tied to the chair. To his surprise, she briefly explained, "Hey, what is your name? Trust me, I am trying to help you. Why are you here?" The boy has no other choice and quickly said, "I am Tom. Please contact my parents." He hardly finished his phrase. When footsteps were heard, the guardian went back. Emma got back inside her place behind the mirror and stepped aside from it, not to be paid attention. "I think to hear some whispers, right?" Tom reacted by crying again, to divert his attention. Emma hastened to call the police, but she quickly remembered her phone was left in the car and must be out of battery now, as she has used it to listen to the music all along her trip. As with the motel phone, all calls must go through the operator and are possibly tapped or monitored. She needed to find a way to help the boy without alerting a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. She remembered seeing a payphone near the motel office when she checked in. If she could sneak out and make it to the phone, she could call for help. She cracked the door open, peeking into the dimly lit hallway. The coast seemed clear. She slipped out, moving silently towards the exit. Just as she reached the door, she heard the men's voices again, this time closer. Emma darted outside, her footsteps echoing in the still night. She sprinted towards the payphone, fumbling for coins. Her hands trembled as she dialed 911, praying the call would go through quickly. 911, what's your emergency? There's a boy kidnapped at the Motel XY off Highway 17. His name is Tom. The men in the room next to mine are trafficking something illegal. Please hurry. Please keep us informed, ma'am. Help is on the way. Police officer quickly acknowledged Tom as the name of the missing boy from the alert received earlier at the station. Emma immediately went back to the motel to pick her bag and flee. The hall is still empty. She got into her room and grabbed her bag readily packed on the floor. Before going out, she had a glance to the boy next room, but it looked quiet and no sign of the men inside. Something seemed quite strange, but she has to hurry out of this insane place. She turned the handle and opened the door. There, she has the answer to her question. The men stood there in front of her, guns pointed to her face. Masked men. "Hello, girl. Curiosity is not a good idea. We would invite you to join your friend if you like him so much. For now, please hand me all your stuff, phone, and wallet." They pushed her into their room with the boy, giggling of pleasure. Emma nearly fainted, realizing she has put herself now in such a horrible situation. What will they do to her? It's her fault to have underestimated their vigilance. Besides, she must remember that they can monitor her through the mirror. Deep sigh. "Everybody freeze!" But a loud voice suddenly resounded in the quiet night. Police officers storming the motel floor thanks to Emma's previous call for help. Her heart pounding as she watched the officers restraining the criminals who quickly surrendered in view of the big number of heavily armed officers. Moments later, an officer entered the dark room, untying Tom's feet and bringing him out. She stepped forward, revealing herself to the officers. "I'm the one who called. Is he okay?" The officer nodded. "He's shaken, but he'll be fine. You did a brave thing, Emma stayed with Tom until his parents arrived, tears of joy and relief streaming down their faces. As she prepared to leave, one of the officers approached her. "We've got everything under control here. You should get back on the road. Thank you for what you did tonight." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She climbed back into her car, the night sky now dotted with stars.